Now today, SAC Capital, one of the world's biggest hedge funds, is going to sign, likely, it will sign a plea deal with prosecutors that's going to ban them from managing outside money, as well as pay an additional $1.2 billion worth of fines. Judge Napolitano is here, and my question is, they've beaten up the banks, they've beaten up Wall Street, now they're going to the hedge funds. Is this a political prosecution?
Not an easy question to answer. But an excellent question, if I may say so. By the way, do you know where I can get my BlackBerry fixed? I was hoping that somebody would buy them.
Don't look at me.
Half in jest, half not in jest. Here's the problem with the political argument. There are 6 former employees of SAC Capital who have already pleaded guilty to insider trading, and each of them is going to testify against the corporation. When you are faced with a mountain of evidence like that against you coming from your own insiders, you think very quickly about settling the case.
Sure.
But the flip side of that is Stephen Cohen will argue nobody was harmed by what we did, and crime is harm. And if you want to say we broke a rule, we'll pay a fine for breaking a rule. But to take $1.2 billion from us and to prevent us from ever engaging in this kind of work again, and he's been enormously successful at creating wealth and creating jobs without violating the law, this is a draconian response. But is the Justice Department after high-profile scalps? Absolutely.
Exactly.
Is there a higher-profile scalp in all the hedge fund world? I don't want to upset our hedge fund colleagues and viewers, but nobody's bigger than Steve Cohen. And in the banks, nobody's bigger than Chase Manhattan.
See,
people like when Elliot Spitzer went after them are just caving. The government doesn't try a single one of these cases. Question: what was the last Securities and Exchange Commission case tried? Mark Cuban. He won. The jury deliberated for about an hour and a half and found there was no cause of action.
But this is what the left wants politically.
Yes.
They want to be able to say the banks, Wall Street, hedge funds, they are responsible for the crash. They're crooks, they're robbers, thieves, and liars. And that's exactly what they're doing, because they're making political capital out of it.
Where does the $1.2 billion come from? It comes from the profits of this corporation, which will never again be available for investment. That is an extraordinary harm to the economy and to the people who work to achieve.
Where does the money go, by the way?
To the General Treasury. Well, it goes to the SEC, which will remit it to the General Treasury. Look, the SEC is the king of the hill when it comes to sending money back to the General Treasury at the end of each fiscal year.
I don't think it's over. Because maybe it's over for SAC.
It's not over. It's a great observation, Stuart. I'll tell you why it's not over. Because they could still indict Mr. Cohen, and because this does not permit Mr. Cohen himself from managing his own or other people's money. It just prevents SAC Capital from doing so.
Well, this is an insider trading case. Separate from that is a financial collapse. I'm wondering, when are we going to see anybody at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac get into trouble for allowing rotten mortgage bonds onto their balance sheets and triggering a $188 billion taxpayer bailout?
Oh, my goodness.
Never.
That was the government. We would hold our breaths until we were blue in the face, until we were dead of suffocation before that would happen. I mean, so it can be a crime for Angelo Mozillo to sell the stuff, and Jamie Dimon is paying for that. But it can't be wrong for
criminal stupidity
for Fannie and Freddie to buy it. They had to know what was in there.
Tomorrow, Bill de Blasio is almost certainly going to become the next mayor of New York City. He wants to take on the banks again, Wall Street again, tax the rich. Eric Snyderman, I think it is, is still the Attorney General, is that right, of the state of New York?
These are two hard left guys.
Yeah, hard left guys. They're going straight after Wall Street. This is not over. They may have taken Steve Cohen and SAC, but there's plenty of others out there, and they'll go after them.
I think that de Blasio is going to surprise people, and I think he's going to have to play ball with the banks. Boy, if he does something to drive the banks from Wall Street to Jersey City, I mean, that would be catastrophic for the economy of the city.
And newsflash,
I don't think he's stupid enough
But they would never move.
And the open secret is the upper brackets don't stay in New York City long enough to be taxed. They're smart enough to not be here. They have temporary, they have homes on Park Avenue. Those homes are empty. They go to Florida or they go to other states where they're not going to be taxed so heavily as they are here in New York City.
You think reality?
And when they're not here, they're not spending money here, Mayor de Blasio.
That's right.
You think that Mayor de Blasio,
we're calling him mayor already. Yeah.
You think he's going to have to see reality and back off on what he's proposing to do?
I sure hope so. Listen, I've had a lot of problems with Nanny Stater Bloomberg, but he understands wealth, money and the significance of Wall Street to the infrastructure of the city.
He ran the city well. This is a well-oiled machine we've got here.
In that respect, he did. I hope that de Blasio will have the right people around him will say, you know, you can only go so far with these guys. They go across the river.
The man is
You're
a
cooked.
Sandinista, for heaven's sake.
He is.
You think he's going to have
You
a
have the post here that shows him with an axe and sickle over his forehead. That might actually help him in this town.
Well, so we started out with, is it a political prosecution?
And we ended up with the politics of prosecutions.
We did, didn't we? No, that's pretty good full circle, Judge.
Yes,
not bad at all.
He'll have a lot of power to regulate the banks that have their principal offices in New York City, and most of them do.
You and I live in New Jersey. They're welcome to come over the Hudson River and join us in the great state of New Jersey.
You're talking about those banks.
Banks.
You're not talking about Bill de Blasio chasing the banks over there, because when they do, they'll run into Chris Christie standing there like this. Try and come over.
He'd love them.
No. To de Blasio trying to pursue the banks over there. Of course, he'd love the banks there. Who wouldn't?
Yes.
Because they pay taxes on
Oh, yes. Please. Thanks very much, Judge. Always good. Thank you.